Howdy, 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 my name is Anachi Sasuke. Welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. It's been like 3 minutes for me, but a few hours for y'all. So in the last episode, we did 901, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but there was not 90210. And the next one, which is this one, we're going to be doing Scouring Hive, an exploratory vehicle, collocated? Okay, here we go. Let's see. Collocate. Collocated rock, Mr. Forgetful, and Dust Embodied. Probably not talking about the video game. By the way, play that. It's a lot of fun. Hack and slash. I don't know if it counts as a Metroidvania. You get abilities and then you can do more things. It's fun, whatever the heck its genre is. Anyway, let's get right on into the Scouring Hive. Now that those words have left my face, I do not recommend getting right on into the Scouring Hive, especially not with that picture happening. Image of 906 humanoid form at initial site of discovery from video camera used in capture. So yeah, I would like to rescind my statement of let's get on into the Scouring Hive. Let's not do that, let's just read about the poor souls who did. The subject is to be contained in a 3 by 3 meter squared, fully airtight, 12 centimeter thick titanium enclosure surrounded by acid-resistant glass. Temperature must be kept under 5 degrees Celsius. Should the temperature exceed this limit, all personnel are to be evacuated to a distance of at least 100 meters. Okay. Immediate area containing enclosure will then be locked down until the temperature has been lowered. Holding cells to be maintained on a bi-weekly basis and checkered for sufficient corrosion or gaps. Any damage to holding cells to be repaired immediately. SCP-906 is to be monitored at all times from 4 digital cameras mounted on each corner of the enclosure. Any abnormal behavior reported from these cameras will result in immediate lockdown of area around a containment cell. Access to 906 are permitted only to supervise disposable folk for feeding and or enclosure maintenance. It is to be fed 80 kilograms of raw meat every 42 hours. Before we continue, I'm going to go find out what 5 degrees Celsius is because I live in the United States, so I don't know these things. My schools didn't teach us this. 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so. Okay. Spring is probably rough for them. SCP-906 is a writhing mass of dark brown, worm-like invertebrates. That's better than what I thought that was! Because that... I don't know how to describe what I thought that was. I really don't. These organisms seem to interact in a uniform fashion, forming a colonial superorganism in a similar manner to army ants. For reasons currently unknown, 906 will usually form its body into that of a very rough humanoid figure. It is shown to be capable of crude bipedal movement when it is in this state. However, when traveling longer distances, it will deviate to a flattened mass with a greater efficiency of movement. 906 is capable of secreting a viscous, highly corrosive, semi-translucent fluid similar in color to its skin. This substance is known to have an acidic strength comparable to hydrofluoric acid, but it has a less pronounced effect on titanium, no effect on acid-resistant glass, and data expunged. It sounds like a worm version of SCP-105. If I'm thinking of the right one, it might be 106. The old man with the creepy smile that pulls people into another dimension and then does things to them. It sounds like a worm version of that guy. The substance has displayed the ability to destroy teeth, bones, hair, nails, clothing, jewelry, and some kinds of equipment in under an hour. It is predatory and highly aggressive. When hungry, it will swarm over any living creature within its path and coat them in its acidic secretion, thereby breaking down the matter into a liquid slurry, which it then consumes. Attempts to remove or disturb 906 during its feeding have proved fruitless. They could have said fatal, but they said fruitless. But it's probably fatal. When a designated prey is nearby, 906 will alter its form into that of a flowing carpet and move across any surface in order to pursue its target until the prey is captured. Due to the small width of 906, component organisms 2 centimeters wide. I read that weird because whatever. Barriers will only slow its advance. Obstacles that cannot simply be passed will be destroyed by the acidic substance which 906 secretes. It has also displayed the ability to take alternate routes to reach its prey, such as drainage pipes and ventilation shafts. You know who could have taken care of this? Steve Irwin. Steve Irwin could have handled this. Through methods currently unknown, 906 appears capable of mimicking animal-like sounds and parroting human speech in what is described as a raspy, hoarse voice while in its humanoid form. It appears to use this ability to lure prey into areas that are difficult to escape, such as deep pits or maze-like corridor networks. I was going to question how anyone would end up anywhere near a situation like that, and then I remembered some things, and I am no longer confused. Eyewitness reports from Containment Breach 906-210-01A, alright, detail 906 taunting prospective victims and even emitting a sound something like laughter before attacking its prey. This behavior suggests a kind of rudimentary sentience, but it is unknown how a creature comprising several thousand individual organisms is able to achieve this. I imagine it probably sounds slightly segmented in its raspiness and echoes a bit, and it's probably louder than it has to be. Because if it's a raspy, hoarse voice composed of several thousand individual worm things specifically to sound like humans and mock them, it's probably like, you can't get over here. And then they do it, and then they die. Because they get turned into slurry and consumed. 906 specimens, when removed from the larger body, will attempt to move back towards the central mass and have been known to dissolve through any obstacles in their way. It should be noted that individual specimens do not have the same level of navigation skills as these full super organism. Specimens of 906 have the ability to reconstruct into multiple versions when damaged in a manner similar to common earthworms, i.e. splitting one 906 specimen resulted in each half growing into separate organisms. Despite this, 906 specimens have been destroyed by means of incineration, freezing, and full-body disintegration. Should the need to destroy 906 ever arrive, use of flamethrowers or liquid nitrogen is permitted. However, 906 specimens will split themselves and multiply over the course of several hours should the larger mass be severely reduced. If it is ever required to be terminated, all specimens must be eliminated to prevent it from reforming. In order to keep 906 in a more controllable state, the enclosure it is housed in is to be kept at a temperature below 41 degrees Fahrenheit at all times, as this is shown to reduce the movement, reaction time, reproduction abilities, and metabolism of 906. Addendum 1. Testing of 906 resulted in a Class D being targeted before a cow. A second test was then conducted in this manner, wherein a pig, sheep, dog, and horse were all placed alongside a Class D. It once again targeted the Class D first. Second targeted animal was the pig, followed by the sheep, the horse, and finally the dog. 2. During routine enclosure maintenance, 906 reportedly spoke to a supervising staff member by saying his name several times. The reason it did this is unknown, and the staff member, one Dr. Anthony Richards, reports being very disturbed by the proceedings and has expressed a desire to be kept away from 906 in the future. Was it using, like, his full name, or was it just being like, Dr. Richards, Dr. Richards? Or was it like, hey Anthony, come here. I want to show you something. And he's like, nah, man, I'm out. Reassign me. I'm out. I feel like it probably went down like that. It sounds like I just made him sound like Venom. And I'm gonna just roll with it. But the reason that the picture weirds me out is because the picture kind of looks like it's a strangely lumpy, long, skinny man with a grinning face on backwards, with a head like Dr. Farnsworth from Futurama, but on backwards as he's walking away. And it's just... Okay, so... Nice to see that the 900 still has uncomfortable stuff from, like... Just, ooh. Exploratory vehicle. It's safe. And it looks like totally all far out, man. Dayquil Severe? What is going on with this medicine? Why is there now coma-causing ZZZquil and then Dayquil Severe? What problems do they think we have? Anyway, SCP-907 is to be kept under standard surveillance within Garage 3 of Site-54. The key to activate 907 is to be kept in a sealed locker under the possession of local security director and may only be requisitioned by level 3 personnel for purposes of testing 907, man. Dude. You gotta relax, man. Just be groovy. Alright, anyway, SCP-907 is outfitted as a mobile research station and is to be kept fully stocked at all times. with snacks for the munchies. This stock includes all necessary research, computing, and living equipment, a 10-day supply of rations, plus a 5-day emergency supply, an appropriately modified Mach 2 Eva suit. They probably don't mean Evangelion, but can you imagine? And a standard set of 10 remote AX-10 probes. I don't know what that is. Is that an actual thing? Is that an actual thing? It looks like soldering irons. What's this induction pencil? I don't know what that means, but that's what it gave me. The inventory of 907 is to be refreshed after every testing mission. For the sake of caution, testing 907 is to be carried out by level 1 and 2 personnel only, as according to the official testing schedule. It is not to be exited by the researcher during testing missions, except in matters of absolute necessity. Sorry, I was yawning and trying to continue reading anyway. 907 is a 1960-something Volkswagen van bearing no internal or external structural anomalies. The vehicle has received a new coat of paint shortly before recovery, but otherwise all modification to the vehicle has been carried out by the Foundation. Said modification includes the removal of all seats in the vehicle and the addition of testing and research equipment. Why, though? Upon the starting of the engine, it will disappear from local space-time and undergo a state of transit. Oh, that's probably why. The state will persist for 5 to 10 minutes, after which the engine will stop of its own accord. Removing the key or attempting to turn off the engine manually has proven unsuccessful while transit is ongoing. When transit has been completed, it will reappear on the surface of an extrasolar planet. Many planets appear to be located in other galaxies, making identification through positions of known stellar objects impossible. How was there air in the van, or is that some of the equipment they packed? No traces of life have been found on any planet reached via 907. 907 itself, and all conditions within, will not be affected by any outside conditions. Maybe I should just stop asking questions because it answers it like 2 sentences later. So long as an object or person is completely within 907, even if there is an open door or window present, they will be unaffected by the outside environment. Good to know that it just negates explosive decompression. 907 will return to Earth in the same location as its departure after 5 to 15 stops. The vehicle is seen to undergo minor relativistic effect during transit, where a longer period of time will have transpired on Earth than it has in 907, but this period of time has yet to exceed a lag of 2 weeks. Addendum. While over 300 extrasolar planets have been cataloged through usage of 907, several have been encountered on multiple occasions. These include a terrestrial planet approximately 1.5 times the Earth's mass, orbiting a M-class star. No atmosphere or moons are present. The landscape is covered in a thick layer of graphite with surface formations of diamond due to seismic upheaval. Temperature averages negative 200 degrees Celsius. B was a terrestrial planet with an atmosphere of methane and carbon dioxide measuring approximately 90 amp. Exterior temperature at ground level is in excess of 550 degrees Celsius. Trace compounds of unknown chemical composition give the lower atmosphere an iridescent quality. It sounds pretty deadly. Insufficient data believed to be the semi-liquid core of a standard hydrogen gas giant. Terrestrial planet approximately 3 times Earth's mass, orbiting a K-class star. A trace atmosphere of carbon dioxide and nitrogen is present, as well as a single moon. While liquid water is present, the environment is self-sterilizing due to the severe ultraviolet radiation from the planet's sun. E. An icy moon orbiting a ringed helium giant. No atmosphere present. Irregular composition of the ice combined with abnormal warming and cooling patterns has caused a marble pattern on the surface. And F. A terrestrial planet approximately 17 times the mass of Earth orbiting a B-class star. 6 small moons are present. The atmosphere is made primarily of nitrogen and argon, and large quantities of arsenic and mercury are present in the soil. Winds of up to 270 kilometers per hour have been recorded. How do they get soil? How do they get soil if they need to stay in the van to not die? Okay, sure. Plot holes. Now the collocated rock. Better not. Okay, I was about to say, better not be Keter. You better not. Visit to 908 by Dr. Garcia. Okay. Okay. I had already forgotten about the ads, and I was not prepared for big old anime eyes while I was trying to read Dr. Patel and H's blank and blank during a period of unusually clear atmospheric conditions. The vicinity of each location of 908 is to be patrolled by a marine vessel crewed and equipped in accordance with the specifications in document 908.2321.AE4C. Audio and video monitoring equipment are to be placed on the islet, McIsland, and repaired or replaced as necessary. SCP-908 is a partially submerged rocky McIsland. That sounds like a name. Hello, my name is Rocky McIsland. Nice to meet you. That was terrible. I apologize. The exposed rock above the waterline measures approximately 30 meters in length and 25 meters in width and rises to a height of approximately 22 meters above the waterline. The rock is composed of granite. The vertical rock face contains carved inscriptions in the old Gaze script, which are too eroded to be read clearly, but appear to indicate that the rock was visited by Ethiopians in the 4th or 5th century BCE. Near the waterline, there are also carved glyphs that resemble the oracle bone script used in Shang Dynasty China, but the weathering of the carvings indicates that they were added relatively recently, probably within the past 2 centuries. The only macroorganisms inhabiting the McIsland are various lichens and small mollusks, although portions of the McIsland are also covered with seabird guano. Bird poop. The McIsland I'm pretty sure it's isolate. Is a geographic anomaly, is located in several different places at once. The islet's collocation properties extend to objects in physical contact or close physical proximity to the islet. Investigations have shown that at present the islet is currently located at the following terrestrial locations: southwestern Indian Ocean, Lake Tana, Ethiopia, Ungava Bay, northern Quebec, Sea of Okhotsk near Sakhalin Island, the Gulf of Bothnia, approximately 30 kilometers west of mainland Finland, and Lake Superior, approximately 100 kilometers northeast of Duluth, Minnesota. The islet also appears to be located in at least one non-terrestrial location, see test log. The atmospheric and water temperatures and the salinity of the surrounding water remain relatively constant regardless of the time of day or year that the islet is visited, or the point of origin from which it is approached. The islet is also typically surrounded by a mist or fog which, even under the best lighting conditions, limits visibility to no more than 40 to 50 meters. Lighting conditions vary at unpredictable intervals from a condition comparable to a foggy, overcast day to total darkness. So here's the test log. Experiment 1 with Dr. Patel. Let's see, the first 6 are Dr. Patel. Islet approach by boat from Ethiopian mainland. Distinctive medallion, 0.8 kilograms in mass, placed on islet. Approach by helicopter from Quebec. Medallion was in the same position relative to the islet's topography on Quebec islet as on Ethiopian. Approach by boat from a Quebec. Shortwave radio transmitter placed on the islet and activated, broadcasting coded homing signal. Triangulation of homing signals resulted in the identification of the 6 locations on the islet described in the description narrative. It is currently approached by boats from Ethiopia and Wisconsin. When both boats were within 60 meters of the Ethiopia and Lake Superior locations, the boats' crews were able to visually identify each other. Currently approached by boats from Ethiopia with Agent Blank aboard and Wisconsin. Boats met and Agent Blank boarded the boat that had originated in Wisconsin. The boats returned to their respective points of origin. Agent Blank experienced no anomalous effects other than the rapid transit between the points. He went from Ethiopia to Wisconsin, like, immediately. Concurrently approached by boats from Kamchatka and Quebec. The boats met, boarded the boat that had originated in Quebec. At this point, the GPS device indicated a location near the Sea of Okhotsk location. The boats returned to their respective ports of origin. Upon leaving the area of effect, the GPS carried by Agent Blank ceased functioning for several minutes, following which it indicated a location near Quebec. Concurrently approached by boats from Ethiopia and Wisconsin, with each boat unspooling a telecommunications cable anchored at the boat's point of origin. The boats met within 20 meters of the islet and telecommunication cables joined. The cable functioned as normal except for the much shorter than normal transmission time for wired communication between those points. Now it's Dr. Garcia for a couple of tests. Approached by boat from Kamchatka Peninsula. Audio and video recording equipment installed at islet to monitor the islet's conditions for 33 consecutive days. No remarkable activity except for occasional visits by birds of diverse origins. The islet was approached by boat from Quebec, South Africa, and Ethiopia. Dye released in surrounding water and colored smoke released in the atmosphere. Observation of dye and smoke indicates that the collocation phenomena appears to be limited to an irregularly shaped volume, approximately 80 meters in radius, roughly centered on the rock. Dr. Patel again. Approached by boat from South Africa. Audio and video recording equipment installed at islet. On day 29 after installation of equipment, unknown individuals, presumably human, remove the equipment. Agent Blank approaches the islet by helicopter from South Africa to investigate and finds that in place of the equipment, the individuals have left baskets containing fruits, jade trinkets, and a handwritten note containing undecipherable lettering resembling letters in the Armenian alphabet but not corresponding to any known words. Dr. Garcia. The islet is approached by boat from South Africa. Rock sample drilled from the islet. Upon analysis, granite found to be unremarkable. The hole left by sample drilling is apparent on all subsequent visits to the islet, regardless of the location from which it is visited. Visited by boat from Wisconsin, personnel D-2341 left at the islet with audio and video recording and broadcast equipment at 6 months provisions. 31 days after the experiment commences, signal from islet is cut and the AV broadcast equipment is damaged. Agent Blake approaches the islet from boat from Wisconsin to investigate, recovers the equipment and reports that the disposable dude is missing. Scraps of their uniform remain with residue of their blood and blood-like substance not corresponding to any known organism. Approached by boat from Wisconsin, the boat remains on site for 118 days. No remarkable activity except that on day 91, a canoe-like vessel, approximately 4 meters in length and crewed by 3 or 4 individuals, presumably human, with East Asian facial features and clad in animal skins, briefly approached the boat, shouted something unintelligible, and hurriedly paddled away. Test 13. Agents Blank and Blank approached the islet by boat from Wisconsin. On day 46, the boat is struck by torpedo, which fails to detonate. The torpedo resembles Craig's marine design, but incorporates modern guidance and drive systems. A connection between this torpedo and SCP-1142 has been theorized due to similar designs being between the two. And on the last one, Agents Blank and Blank approached the islet by boat from Wisconsin. On day 77, the boat is attacked and destroyed by a large aquatic creature of unknown origin. Alrighty then. And that brings us to Mr. Forgetful, which is presumably also a little mister. So, SCP-909, ow! Sorry, my wisdom teeth keep biting my cheek, and I've never really had the problem this many times in a row before. 909 is to be contained in a standard humanoid containment cell. No writing materials are to be allowed inside the cell. A short summary of 909's current situation is to be pasted on the wall beside the bed. Extras are to be provided if the previous summary is removed by 909. SCP-909 is to be fed 3 times daily with any peanut-free meal. I'm gonna just say Mr. Forgetful from now on. If Mr. Forgetful is seen attempting to write or draw, he's to be incapacitated through non-lethal means. Currently, experimentation with Mr. Forgetful's effects have been discontinued due to risk of containment breach. Research may be conducted if the current site director's approval is given. As of current regulations on Misters, 909 is to be contained at the Hall Blank of Site Blank. Description. Mr. Forgetful appears to be a young adult Caucasian male suffering from permanent anterograde amnesia. Mr. Forgetful seems to be aware of his condition but cannot recall experiences past this aside from memories gained due to the effects. Mr. Forgetful's anomalous effects become apparent when it writes down any of the experiences still in its working memory. When described through writing, experiences immediately enter Mr. Forgetful's long-term memory. However, the experience disappears from memory of all other persons involved. Mr. Forgetful is allergic to peanuts and will go into anaphylactic shock following the ingestion of any peanut products. He was discovered at entrance expunged of Site Blank. Addendum 1. The words Mr. Forgetful from Little Misters, all rights reserved by Dr. Wondertainment are tattooed upon his right calf. Upon discovery, Mr. Forgetful had been wearing a 3-piece suit with the brand name Doctor's Orders sewn into the tag. Foundation personnel have yet to find a clothing company operating under this name. Further examination of Mr. Forgetful's clothing revealed a list of other possible instances of anomalous humanoids similar to Mr. Forgetful. See Document A, inside the left pants pocket. Addendum 3. They interviewed Mr. Forgetful by Dr. Someone. Mr. Forgetful was put into initial observation for 7 hours, during which the subject's anterograde amnesia in relation to 905 were discovered. Mr. Forgetful was then taken into interview. Good morning, 909. 909? Why are you calling me that, and where am I anyways? You are the SCP-designated 909, and you're currently under my custody. I'm a doctor of the Foundation, and I'm going to research your anomalous effects. The Foundation? What's that? At this point, Dr. Blank presses a small button generating a loud noise lasting 5 seconds. 909 is seen to lose focus. Hello, 909. 909? Why are you calling me that? Where am I anyways? You are the SCP-designated 909, and you're currently under my custody. I'm a doctor of the Foundation, and I'm going to research your anomalous effects. The Foundation? What? Okay, let's try something else. Just write down what I just told you. Alright. Later investigation of Dr. Blank's notes showed that he had planned to press the button previously mentioned at this point. Brief pause. Hey, who are you? I'm the, SCP under your custody. Don't you remember? Huh? Don't you remember? No? Where am I? What is this place? End log. Dr. Blank and 909 were removed from the room amid confusion from all personnel involved in the incident. 909 later explained the situation to uninvolved personnel and was placed in his holding cell. Dr. Blank was discharged from duty and given a Class B amnesiac. Amnestic. Okay. Document A. Wow! You just found yourself here with your very own little Mister! A limited edition collection from Dr. Who Entertainment. Find them all and become Mr. Collector! There's Mr. Chameleon, Mr. Headless, Mr. Laugh, Mr. Forgetful, Mr. Shapey, Mr. Soap, Mr. Hungry, Mr. Brass, Mr. Hot, Ms. Sweetie, Mr. Life and Mr. Death, Mr. Fish, Mr. Moon, Mr. Red, discontinued, Mr. Money, Mr. Lost, Blank, Mr. Mad, Mr. Scary, and Mr. Stripes. The document shown was in possession of 909. 905 says that it lost its copy in the breeze. 913 apparently ingested its copy. 917 held a similar list which can be found in document 917A. 920 claims to have misplaced its copy. So that's, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little misters in just the 900s. I already read about Mr. Red and why he's discontinued. I know there have been other ones of these I've definitely seen. Off the top of my head, I don't know which ones. But I know I already have seen some of these. And that brings us to 910, provided I don't bite my cheek open with my wisdom teeth and their rudeness. System notice, Overseer 6, 5 items require your attention. I don't think this Staples ad is any of it. Get out of here. SCP-910 is safe. Special containment procedures. One instance of 910 is to be stored within Site 1's critical information storage unit. Personnel with level 4 clearance and access to Project Pearl Blossom 11 may request supervised viewings of CISU held copy of SCP-910. MTF Ada-82 Inc. Hounds is to monitor rare book auctions and online marketplaces for instances of 910. Sampling surveys of bookstores... Sorry, I'm just making sure the video didn't freak out. Sampling surveys of bookstores worldwide are to be conducted by Foundation AI Bibliophage, which is to further direct Foundation Internet trawlers in the detection and removal of all information pertaining to 910. All copies of 910 are to be destroyed following retrieval and processing, except in the event that the Foundation-held archival copy has been damaged. In cases where a peaceful acquisition of an instance has been deemed impossible, MTF Ada-82 is to ensure their destruction under 14 ultraviolet engagement parameters. Overseer 6 items require your attention. Description. It is a 156-page book titled Organizational Symbology, New Tools for the Oldest Craft, which describes methods to transform mundane organizations into anomalous entities for use in thaumaturgic rituals. Approximately 10 copies have been printed yearly since 1955 by the Pen and Brook Scribe Works, GOI 154. The author is listed as Aaron Amati, whose biography describes as a thaumaturgist and amateur botanist living in Hell, Michigan. No other records of this individual have been located. The body of 910's text describes the theory that groups of humans organized according to specific principles can fill roles in the thaumaturgic rituals traditionally held by biological or mineral components. For example, an organization may feel the need for a physical circle that would otherwise be drawn in chalk or blood. Such a substitution is argued to greatly increase the efficacy of the augmented ritual. These organizations often exhibit anomalous effects in the course of routine operations, some of which are further documented within 910. 7 of the book's 9 chapters depict different structures of organizations, outlining them through a combination of thaumaturgic jargon and elaborate metaphors. The presentation of ritual construction and execution throughout the book bears similarities to the theories of the Three Rivers School, which emphasizes the need for balance of power across spell systems. Chapter list. Chapter 1, Introduction to Organizational Symbology. Chapter 2, The Populace as Shifting Moon. Chapter 3, The Firm as Ruined Circle, which is SCP-3442. Lawkeepers as a Burning Candle. The Rebellion as Sacrificial Dagger. The Imperial Edifice as Bound Goat. The Church as Grey Ash. The Learned as Twined Focus. In conclusion, The Future. I feel like this is just a book about all the various organizations at play. Tests of 910 have produced varied results. Organizations structured in accordance with chapters 3, 7, and 8 have generated significant anomalous effects. Organizations structured in accordance with chapters 2 and 6 have generated minor and inconsistent anomalous effects. The contents of chapters 4 and 5 produced no discernible effects during testing. On average, the organizations generating the strongest anomalous effects produce the largest improvement in the results of related thaumaturgic rituals. System notice: Overseer 6, 7 items require your attention. Addendum A, text samples. Overseer 6, 8 items require your immediate attention. Let's see, local files. What is this? What? What? Hold on. Corvid, Assailable, Octavian, Aubergine, Penumbra, Retinue, Effigy, Dissymmetry. I think I may have to come back to this at a later date to figure out what the heck this is. So I'm going to mark down specifically SCP-910 from this point on. I'm coming back to this in the next episode of SCP Sidestep. But for now, that does it for this episode of Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. So, this has been Anachi Sasuke. This is episode 190 of this series. If you liked it, a like and subscribe will be groovy. If you didn't, you don't need to do either one of those things. And I just realized the irony of ending episode 190 with 910. Haha! So thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Later!